Hey, welcome back to my channel, Shaun Stevenson Books. I'm Shaun Stevenson, author of the Throne series, and today I literally just finished reading Anthony Horowitz's newest Alex Rider book, NIGHTSHADE REVENGE. This is book number 14 in the series, although Amazon has it actually listed as book number 13, and I think that's because they're skipping Russian Roulette, which is the 10th book, I believe, about Yasen Gregorovich, who was an assassin hired at one point to kill Alex Rider. But that was a backstory about Yasen Gregorovich and not exactly about Alex Rider, so I think that's what's going on there. Anyway, back to this book. So this book is the newest entry in the Alex Rider series. If you want no spoilers because you've never read an Alex Rider book, you definitely should click off this video and go check out an Alex Rider book. I won't be spoiling anything in this book because this is a spoiler-free review. But I will probably be spoiling some plot points from earlier Alex Rider books because it builds into this book. This book really is a sequel to the last book, NIGHTSHADE. Hence the name NIGHTSHADE REVENGE. So this book really is kind of a sequel to that book, and this book is building off the TV show. As you can see, there's a little circle printed on this about the TV show. There's 2 seasons that have come out of the Alex Rider show. I've seen both of them. I think they're really great. They do a good job portraying the books that they portray, which is Point Blanc and Eagle Strike, books 2 and 4, I believe. I know they're filming a season 3. I'm not sure what book it's going to be about yet. But this is NIGHTSHADE REVENGE. And Anthony Horowitz definitely is playing up the fact that the TV show has existed and is now a thing, because he takes some elements that are big in the TV show and kind of builds them into this book. And I have to think he did that very intentionally, because then that would make this book more easily adaptable to a series or a season of the TV show. So for instance, in earlier books, Tom Harris, Alex Rider's best friend from school, is not really in them that much. He shows up here and there, but in the TV show, Tom Harris is a big part of what happens and kind of knows everything. And in this book, Tom Harris is played up quite a bit. There's also a lot of stuff with Jack Starbright, who is Alex Rider's kind of like caretaker, guardian at this point. At one point she was his nanny, but that has really transitioned to be his guardian or caretaker, and she plays a big part in this book as well, and is much more involved than in previous books where she was a little more left out of the loop, which also plays into the TV show. You have Anthony Horowitz here playing into, I think, that the TV show exists and he's building on that world. So what is this book about? Well, this book is really, like I said, a sequel to NIGHTSHADE, which NIGHTSHADE, if you don't remember, NIGHTSHADE was an organization kind of like Scorpia. Scorpia was an evil kind of organization that went after a lot of people and did assassinations and all these different things. And now NIGHTSHADE is kind of like the second iteration of Scorpia, only this is made up of kids who are doing the assassinations and things. And so Alex Rider in the last book infiltrated NIGHTSHADE and discovered that there were a lot of these kids who had been told that their parents were dead, that they were gone, but their parents were really still alive, including some kids of main characters in this series, or at least side characters in this series. Alex Rider infiltrated, stopped NIGHTSHADE last time, but the 4 leaders of NIGHTSHADE got away, and now they are planning revenge, because this book starts off with an augmented reality game that is taking the world by storm. People wear these goggles, like these ones on the cover here. They wear these goggles and they can see different things in the world, kind of like Pokemon Go, where you held up your phone, and you could see like the Pokemon in the world. Well, in this game, you can see these different creatures you have to battle in the real world around you. Only someone is messing with the augmented reality, and people are being killed. So Alex Rider goes and gets involved, as well as he's trying to find someone's child who was part of NIGHTSHADE. And that's all I'll say about that. This book does the typical Alex Rider thing where the first 80 to 100 or so pages is kind of one mini mission, and then followed by that opens up into the bigger mission, which takes up the rest of the book. There are some great action pieces here, just like usual in Alex Rider. There are some very close escapes, some very narrow, almost like what's going to happen? Are they going to get out of this? And there is one point where I gasped out loud while reading this book. Something happens to a character, and I sat there and I thought, oh no, you didn't, Anthony Horowitz. You better not have. You better not have done that. And I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it was shocking. A very shocking plot twist moment in the middle of this book. And I did not know how to feel after that. I kept thinking, like, if you've really done that, I don't know what that's going to do to any of the characters, their relationships, like what is going to happen. And I will just say this, to tease it a tiny bit. All these old characters come back in this book. Sabina is here. Like I said, Tom is here. Jack Starbright's here. Mrs. Jones is here. John Crawley. And some other people return who we haven't seen in a while. And it's so good. So good. So I will say, though, I do feel as though some of the gadgets in this book were a little bit lackluster, and there were a couple moments where there were leftover gadgets from other books that I did not remember that they reference in this one, because it's been like 6 or 7 years since those books came out, that they talk about these kind of minute gadgets that Alex has that he uses here and there. There's one very implausible moment later in the book, which usually in Alex Rider, there's like one very implausible thing that happens that you're just like, really? Like, that would never, ever happen, ever. But there is one moment that I kind of was like, what are we doing? Like, what? And so it was a little bit over the top for me, but past that, the rest of it was so good. I do think the ending was a tiny bit weak, though. I think that's because you have a twist villain in this one where you do not know who it is. Usually in Alex Rider, you kind of know who the villain is, but in this book, you really don't know who the villain is or really what they're up to. So that was kind of a difference in previous Alex Rider books where you kind of know like who the villain is and you kind of can guess their basic plan. But this one, you just don't know who the villain is. And so that kind of made for a weak moment, I felt like, at the very end with the villain. I think that the villain didn't do, which I would appreciate this. In a lot of Alex Rider books, the villain comes back at the end. Like, you think they're gone, and then there's a fake out moment where everything seems fine, and then the villain returns to get revenge on Alex Rider. But in this one, that does not happen, and I appreciated that. The ending is different than that. And so there was an emotional punch at the end, though, that I thought, oh, that's very fascinating that we're doing this. And there are some endings here. For a moment, I kind of wondered, is this going to be the last Alex Rider book? But Anthony Horowitz leaves it open enough where there could be a 15th or 14th book if you're Amazon. So there could be another book in this series for sure, which I don't see Anthony Horowitz wanting to stop this series, especially because the TV show, from what I understand from the ratings, is that it's been pretty popular. And people seem to like that show. So I feel like he wouldn't want to stop this series anytime soon. He could definitely put it on pause for a while with the way this book ends, but Alex Rider could easily return for another mission anytime soon. So once again, Alex Rider, he doesn't really go through any character development. Alex Rider is not... These books are not about the character development so much as they're about the plots, the twists, the gadgets, and the settings and action. That's really what these books are for. Those like big moments where you're wondering like, whoa, what is this? And there's some really interesting, not far off in the future things that Anthony Horowitz plays around with here that I thought, well, that would be terrifying if that is real. And I could see that being real with the way that technology keeps evolving and continues to grow. So that was a very interesting thing to read about, the technology piece and the augmented reality, and kind of like a Ready Player One sort of situation where are people going to be more interested in just being in this virtual world than being in the real world. So I thought that was a very interesting commentary, but Anthony Horowitz doesn't really say much about that. Like, he kind of just brushes over it. He doesn't usually seem to have messages in his books. They're more just a background thing, like a topic that he has as a background to what's happening in the Alex Rider spy thriller novel. So that is my review of Alex Rider Nightshade Revenge by Anthony Horowitz. I would give this book a solid 4 out of 5 stars. I think it was a lot of fun. It did a great job bringing all the classic Alex Rider action, gadgets, settings, and the people that we want to see in an Alex Rider book. But it didn't quite deliver as one of the best of the Alex Rider books. I think this one really is like kind of a maybe top of the middle in the pack of different books that are in the Alex Rider series. So it was good, but it wasn't the very, very best that it could have been. Have you read any Alex Rider books? Do you enjoy these? Let me know down in the comments below which ones have you read, and have you watched the TV show? Have you seen the episodes? They're on Freevee, I believe it is, and it's a good show. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So definitely check that out. Check out Alex Rider Nightshade Revenge, and until next time, keep reading, everybody. Bye!